I'm Yitzhak Berger. I teach Hebrew at Risha. Parashat Toldot, we meet Yaakov and Esav. They're born to Yitzhak and Rivka, and immediately we see that Yitzhak favors Esav and Rivka favors Yaakov. The truth is, it's not hard to understand why Yitzhak favors Esav. We've already spoken on another occasion about how Yitzhak serves a function among the Avot. Abraham was the first. Abraham was the go-getter. He was the person who founded the tradition. He's the person who, according to the Midrash, broke his father's idols when he was young, and the one who went out and brought people close to the tradition that was going to be founded. Abraham had that personality, but Yitzhak was necessary in order to set a standard for following a tradition. And Yitzhak's personality was, of course, much more submissive and passive, and that was really his distinction. The third generation, therefore, Yitzhak realized needs someone different from him. It was going to need someone who was more outgoing. And Yitzhak saw that in Esav, whereas Rivka, who really had an Abraham-like personality, saw Yaakov as the one who was going to continue the tradition. Rivka, in fact, really is the Abraham of that generation. She's the one who leaves Haran and is willing to come to Eretz Canaan. God told Abraham, Lech Lecha. Rivka says, Eilech. Rivka's the one who receives the prophecy of who's going to be the next patriarch. And Rivka is the one who's active in just about every stage of the story where Yitzhak is not. So it makes sense that Rivka would have chosen Yaakov. Rivka was in fact told Yaakov would be the one, whereas Yitzhak would choose Esav. Indeed, we find that Yaakov is going to be the third one of the Avot. But the question needs to be raised as to why he had to be the one. Why is it the case that Yitzhak wasn't correct? Why would the third one of the Avot not be the one who had more of an active and aggressive personality like Esav, and let Esav learn how to calibrate his personality properly and to achieve the perfect set of character traits, the right balance? Why is it Yaakov, the one who begins as an Ish Tam, the innocent, simple, and more passive-like personality, why is it he who then has to develop that balance? Perhaps we could suggest the following. Abraham has set a standard for personalities that are more extroverted, more aggressive. Such people need a paradigm, and Abraham is it. Abraham is the CEO. Right? Abraham is the president of the university. Abraham is the chief executive. He is the one who, from the time he's very young, starts to take action and goes out into the world, reaches out to people, and found something very impressive with God's help. The third one of the Avot, the one who was going to be the last one that set the standard for the balance of character traits, however, had to be the paradigm for most of us. Most of us are not the chief executives. Right? Most of us are not the ones who found the business. Most of us need to achieve that balance of character traits from another perspective. Right? We're the ones who hopefully have a natural tendency to be amenable, to be calmer, to be willing to follow when the situation calls for it. But what we need to do, to achieve that proper balance, is to learn how to confront challenges head-on when they arise. That's the model that we needed for the third one of the Avot. The one who's by nature a Tam, by nature had the perfect midot in his interactions, but who just had to learn how to deal with those confrontational people when they encounter them. Yaakov was an Ish Tam when he started, but when he encountered an Esav, he dealt with him with deception. When he encountered a Lavan, he reacted to Lavan's deception with his own deceptions. His last deception is when he steals Lavan's heart, running away in the middle of the night with the whole family, with Lavan actually not knowing. Vayignov Yaakov et Lev Lavan ha'aravi. It's only when Lavan runs after him at the end and confronts him, and Yaakov has nowhere to go, that Yaakov learns how to confront Lavan head on. And in a paragraph that's filled with the key word panim, Yaakov confronted Lavan head on. Later, he confronts the angel who represents all of those challenges that God threw at him, and he confronts him successfully, panim el panim. That's the Yaakov who eventually learns how to take the character that he had naturally and balance it with that ability to confront those who need to be confronted head on. It's from the perspective of tamimut, from the perspective of innocence, from the perspective of a calmer personality, that we then achieve the balance of character traits that comes with learning how to deal with challenges that are thrown at us. Yes, there are those personalities like Avraham, and those personalities like Avraham have Avraham as their role model. The last one of the Avot needed to be somebody who by nature was the Tam, but who learned how to achieve that balance on his own later in life. Shabbat Shalom.